we are going to work with the Airbnb data, which you also have. So you can get our packages ready. So the GG alley, remember one part of the course is graphics. So we are tackling the graphics aspect along the way. And as we go along now, most of the plots that we make are coming from the ggplot2 package, which we have not specifically installed because it is built into the tidyverse package. Contains ggplot2, and for data manipulation, it contains dplyr as well. ggalley is also based on the ggplot function that gives you a lot of plots at a time based on the ggplot package. The coregram is also a package that can visualize correlations for you. The PP core implements partial correlations as well. These two, we don't even need them today. So we can leave them out or just run them. So let's load this data. We are calling the data BNB. That's it's over 12,800 data points. I added a description to the data. It's Airbnb data across. So let's view it and see. See across different countries and different features of the property. The number of bathrooms, the number of bedrooms, the number of guests that are in the reviews, as well as the price that is charged for the period of stay. So my question to you is, if you look at the data, look at the columns here, or if you even look at the variable names here, which ones do you think you want to know whether they are related or they are not related? So for marketing purposes, or for decision-making purposes, or for sales purposes, which variables do you want to focus on to make a decision? And at this point, we are just focusing on the quantitative aspect. So you may look at the quantitative aspect of the data or the variables that are quantitative. Okay, price is there. We also have reviews, but reviews was giving me an issue. I don't know why. It says some data is not numeric. I removed all of them. I was still showing that anyway. We also have rating, which is also some non-numeric values in there, but we have a number of attributes of the properties like bathrooms, bedrooms, the number of beds, the number of guests that it can take, whether it's a studio or not. So all of that, I think all of them can impact or determine the price. So they should be related of some sort. If we had the size of the property, we can add that one, because size will relate to how many beds it can take, the number of toilets it can take, or number of bedrooms. So we can start to look at the correlations along or between the variables. So we can pick any of the variables and check the correlation between them. So once we know the correlation, we may be able to have an idea of the magnitude and direction. So this is between price and beds, and that's about what? About 23% direct relationship. It means that for many beds in a property, price is going to be high. And that makes sense. If you require a room of more beds, it's going to cost you more than a room with less beds. And we can check for, let's say, bedrooms. the number of bedrooms. So you see that there's a difference. Okay, let me go to the test as well. So this one gives you there's a correlation, but this is making the test for you. So you realize that first of all, this is the Pearson's product moment correlation. It's based on the t-test. So there's a t-test statistic here. We need to talk about degrees of freedom. So the degrees of freedom will be n minus the number of estimations that we have made, which is just 1. So that reduces the value by 1. Actually, so independent variables are 2, so that will be by 2. Then the p-value is 0.00. So that's basically 16 zeros before 2. So 0.015 zeros, then 2. That is essentially 0. Okay. And it's even written here, alternative hypothesis is stated. True correlation is not equal to 0, just as we wrote in the board. And there's also a 95% confidence interval that is given here. And the specific correlation value. So for the number of toilets in the room, realize the relationship is negative, but it is not significant. If you look at the p-value, there's 20% evidence for the null hypothesis of the relationship being 0. And if you look at the p-value, the confidence interval here, realize that 0 is the value that is possible to be in the confidence interval. And so it means that when we are taking a correlation, we need to note that there's no relationship between price. If you are doing a regression, there's no relationship between price and toilets or the number of toilets. And for that reason, you may not use toilets to determine the price of any of the properties. So how about whether it's a studio or not? This is it's a negative relationship, but this one is significant, so we know what to do. Now, what has been happening is that default, all the correlations are Pearson, but we can change them and indicate which relationship we want, which type of correlation we want. So we can do Spearman and Pearson. So for the first one, so line 41 is Spearman, and that gives us significant relationship between studio and price. How about Kendall? One condition that we cited for Kendall was that if you transform the data, the relationship will not change. Okay. What correlation studio? There's something's happening. Price studio. Okay, so let me do it again. So we do the candle without transformation of the data, and we do the one with data transformed by logs. So if you look at the data that is not transformed, you see the correlation is minus 0.07. P-value is that. With transformation, see minus 0.07, the p-value is the same. Now let's do that for Pearson and C. Realize that they will change because the Pearson is parametric. So if you change the data, you transform the data, which transforms the distribution. That changes the correlation. So for log, So Pearson, Pearson without transformation of the data and Pearson with transformation of the data. Okay, let me change that because Studios is a binary data, so log of 0 is giving us problem. So let's say beds here and bed here. Okay, so that's also bed has zeros, which under data. Okay, I think guest will not be 0. If the guests are 0, there's no price for the data. So let's use guests. That should work fine. I hope. Strange. Okay. I think it's because some of the data has log 0. So the log of 0 is giving us a problem. So, oh, wait. No, that's not the problem. The problem is that I'm writing logit instead of log. Can you see this is where the problem is coming from? Here. So I shouldn't have that. Okay, so let's do it again. So without transformation and let's guess without transformation and with transformation. Okay, so if you look at without transformation, realize that the correlation, first of all, is significant and is 0.32, so 32%. When you transform the data to logs, the correlation has changed to 44%. Of the candle, if you transform, the correlation stays like that. So that's one important distinction. Okay. Then we can look at the partial correlation. So we are going to suppress a third variable. Where is it? A third variable, which will be our bedrooms. Right. We can suppress bedrooms and check the relation between price and bed. And if we use the candle, we can use another method. The package that I'm not installing. Okay. There's a package. Yes, I didn't run this one. Let me run these lines. Things in the PP core package. So let's go back to the partial. How is it? This should work now. So that works fine. It's taking a while. Let me change to Pearson and we'll see the difference. Pearson. Okay. Then so we realize that we are looking at the relation between price and beds, but we are suppressing the impact of bedrooms. And this gives our correlation. And whether we transform it to log or not, for candle, the value is the same. So we have a significant correlation of basically 9%, the same test statistic and the same degrees of freedom. Okay. But if you do that for Pearson, they should change. The Pearson is even, we have the problem is not with the code, is with the estimation of the data because of the transformation. So for the log transformation, we have a problem, but that's fine. Okay, now what we want to do, there was also bathrooms. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to keep all the numeric variables together so that we can do together as maybe as a plot. So we can use the cbind data frame and put all of them together. So that's our new data Okay. We don't need this one. We don't need this one. Okay. So we want to use the core gram package to visualize the correlation. Okay. This is repeated. Let me delete one and look at the table. So we have just numeric here, and this can give us a graph. There are different changes that you can make to this plot. So let's zoom out. So this is a graphical representation of the correlation. It's not very intuitive yet. We are going to make another plot, which looks nicer. And there will be an indication of what the correlations are. Okay, so that's the correlation for you visually. This one will show a heat map for us here. How did this one end up? Okay, so we have the GGPS to do the same thing. Escape to do another one. I just want the GGPS. Let me stop this. So I want only this one. Okay. So this looks nicer. If we look at it, realize that there's a heat map, which is showing us the range of relationships. So if you remember, we stated the possible range of correlation. That's what it is. So -1, the perfect inverse relationship. This color was the name of this color, and perfect positive will be red or orange. So the correlations are in between. The zero will be almost white. So you can see the relationship between here will be between studio and price, that is -0.1. Take between bed and price, that's going to be 0.3. Bedrooms and beds, that's 0.8. Guest and bathrooms, that's 0.7. So that gives you an idea of what your relationship is. And you want to know which ones you want to focus on, depending on your purpose or your objective. This one also shows an even bigger plot, which I'll show you. If it doesn't show up, I'll show you another way of making sure it shows up. So this plot is too big to show. So what you may do is want to zoom out the plot. And while it is zoomed out, you run the line again. RStudio is logging me out. That's one of the problems with RStudio. You can just restart your session, which is not good. So let me see if it kept my data or my objects. Of course, it didn't capture. So I need to load from the top, get to some portion, and I can skip to that side. And you just need to get here where I put the data together. Okay, then I can get back to where I was. Here, I was here. GGPS. So it's still loading. You can see the stop sign. So what will happen, and I'll zoom out the plot. So what is happening is that the plot is too big to fit into the space. So you zoom out and you run the line again. That should now it will work. When it finishes, it will show in the plot. That can take a while because the data is also over 1200. And I think maybe the screen sharing is also affecting it. It has not even started to load here. I think RStudio will restart again. Okay, so let's wait for it. It's taking a while. So it's done. So it should show up, but that is not showing strange. Anyway, okay, so let's proceed. We look at our regression. I think, was it the toilets that we said was not, did not have a significant relationship with price?